and welcome to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On this episode, we are going to be wrapping up the discussion around ObiWan Kenobi. The last 2 episodes have aired, I have seen them, and of course, I have thoughts. So, first off, I just want to say I think that this show should have been called The Reva Show. They should have just really done a spinoff of The Inquisitors and focused it on Reva's character, because the majority of this tale was really around her anyway. In my opinion, it had very little to do with ObiWan Kenobi. It had very little to do with his sort of battle with Darth Vader. And it kind of messed up some of the continuity, I feel like, or made it more difficult to explain some of the things that happen later in A New Hope. So in the second to the last episode, or episode 5, you find out, spoilers ahead, by the by, so turn it off now if you haven't watched the last 2. But you find out that Reva is really just one of the younglings that Anakin Skywalker killed, or I guess attempted to kill. There is a scene that shows that when she was younger, she was a youngling, obviously, and that Anakin Skywalker stabbed her with his lightsaber and left her for dead. I'm not sure exactly how old the younglings were meant to be at that time, but I feel like if Anakin Skywalker was going off the deep end and killing younglings, that he would do it. He would just do it, right? Like, that's kind of what makes him Darth Vader, is he's evil. That's the point. He's the villain. And then you kind of discover in episode 5 that he's known that she was a youngling kind of this whole time, that he knows that she's aware that he's Anakin Skywalker, that he knows kind of that she wants revenge against him for the fact that she watched him kill all these younglings. She has had so many opportunities to sneak up on him, like sneak attack him. And if he was aware that that was her plan all along, like, what is he doing? I don't know. And like at the end of episode 5, he ends up kind of having a battle with her again. He's after ObiWan Kenobi. Obi-Wan gets away, and he ends up doing this tiny little pathetic battle with Reva. She tries to kill him. He very obviously knew that she was going to do it. Defeats her in like 4 seconds, and then stabs her, and once again just leaves her for dead. It's like Darth Vader went to the Austin Powers School for How to Be a Villain, like that. I am going to monologue and then leave and assume that you've died. It makes no sense. Like, Darth Vader, in everything that we've seen him in so far, you know, he's a villain. He's a good villain. He has become kind of well known for being evil for a reason, and that reason is not stabbing people and then just sort of hoping that they've, you know, not gotten away to fight against him at a later point. With ObiWan Kenobi, with his battle with ObiWan Kenobi, obviously, you know, neither one of them in this show are going to defeat the other, because we know that both of the main characters exist 15, 20 years down the road, right? But with some of the other ones, it's like, why does she need to survive? I don't care about her character, really. There's no character development or growth in her story in Obi-Wan that makes me want to continue watching her in this series, right? And then the very beginning of episode 6, obviously, Reva is still alive. She's been stabbed with a lightsaber, somehow manages to get off this planet completely on her own, because Darth Vader obviously left her for dead. Obi-Wan bounced like before she ever had this fight. So how did she get off of this thing? She goes to try and get Luke. So her whole story arc is, I watched someone kill children, and now what I'm going to do is go do the same thing. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it has nothing really to do with Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? It has everything to do kind of with the younglings and with Darth Vader. But it's almost like they had like competing storylines. They're like, oh, we really want to make this storyline about Reva, but it's an Obi-Wan show, so let's throw baby Princess Leia in it and like hope for the best, right? Like make two competing stories that'll just go with each other somehow. I will say the second battle with Obi-Wan Kenobi, like in the final episode, the second battle between him and Darth Vader was visually very cool, like visually super awesome to watch them. It's sort of like this rocky, dark place where they're fighting. And so the lightsabers, of course, are like super glowy, and it's very awesome to watch. But again, that scene kind of makes zero sense. Like in episode 4, you watch them go up against each other, and Obi-Wan Kenobi clearly has let himself go. Like clearly has not been practicing with the Force, hasn't been practicing with the lightsaber. Darth Vader defeats him pretty openly, I feel like. And then you've got 2 episodes that pass where Obi-Wan Kenobi has done fuck all, really, for 2 episodes to get better. But then they face off again, and Obi-Wan Kenobi suddenly is stronger than Vader and is able to, like, I don't know, get one over on Vader and kind of walk away the hero yet again. And it kind of just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I mean, it was exciting for me to see Ewan McGregor back and Hayden Christensen. And I was watching another review, a reviewer on YouTube. His name is Jeremy Johns, and he did kind of his little take on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's like, it's almost like the experience, obviously you can tell the experience that the actors have doing the show is just vastly different than the experience that people have watching it, you know, like, and that's something that I feel like none of us that are outside of the acting world will really understand, like kind of that feeling of getting to play those characters again and how excited they must be to play them. Because on my end, like, even though I was very, very excited to see them come back and reprise the roles, I wasn't super, I don't even know what the word is. I don't want to say that I'm disappointed. Like, I feel like I could just have not watched any of it and it would have been fine. Like, I don't think I gained anything from watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. There wasn't any specific part that I was like, that added something to the story that hadn't been there before that I feel like was, you know, worth those 6 episodes. And I've seen some like promotional materials, or I guess stuff coming out that says that they're open or have greenlit a second season of Kenobi. And I hope they don't. I mean, that sounds really terrible, but I'm hoping that they can just kind of do something else. I had seen a couple of other things that said that they were turning Jedi Fallen Order into a live action and actually using the same actor that they like modeled Cal, I think his name is, in the game, using the same actor to play the live action. And that I'm here for. Like, that I'm excited about. That I will watch. That game was epic. The story was great. I know people give George Lucas flack for his terrible writing of the Star Wars stuff. Whoever did the writing for Obi-Wan Kenobi, worse than George Lucas. And that, I feel like, says a lot, because George Lucas's dialogue, you know, is not the greatest, but he still wrote a good story at the end of the day, even if some of the dialogue was pretty cheesy. The story was good and it was lasting. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, I think is not something that will be lasting. I think it was okay. It wasn't great. And it wasn't what I wanted or what I expected. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if there's going to be a second season, I guess, of Obi-Wan Kenobi and kind of see what they do with it. But wasn't impressed with these 6 episodes. It was kind of a mess. It was all over the place. The ending wrapped it up nice, but it wasn't something that, it wasn't what I was expecting. We'll just say that. So what did you think of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family, and I hope to see you in the next episode.